Welcome back to the stand. Not the desk, because we don't have one.
Really?
Me and Taco. Well, I mean, realistically,
yeah, I don't just fight. Okay.
I can't say welcome back to the desk because there's no desk.
At least they can't see it, so.
I mean, there's no desk. I mean, you're on a step stool, pretty much, of planks of wood just to get taller. Flashpoint is our next game, going to be up against Memory of Gabe. Now, Flashpoint going into this today, I was expecting, you know what, 3 FP. But with how today's going, Taco, I wouldn't count anything out right now.
I think anything is really up in the air. And when it comes to Flashpoint, they have had the roster, the finalized roster changes go through. Like we talked about on the hosting segment, there will be ManRay now in that mid lane role instead of Sheikah. So
and Whalrus in the solo lane as well as Dante Lafargo. So if you think about the upgrades they've made there, technically when you think about ManRay and Whalrus, are they upgrades?
I would probably consider them as upgrades. I would definitely. I mean, Whalrus for sure is an upgrade, and no hate against Dante Lafargo. It's just that it's hard to go from purely challengers and ranked into a sole competitive experience.
It takes time to grow.
Yeah, and then for ManRay, he's already had a little bit of that SPL growth every now and then from the few games he's seen. Plus, he's always been regarded as like a top CC player, so it's just hit or miss. That's all that this is going to boil down to.
Well, let's go into picks and bans and see how the start of this one plays off. Flashpoint will be first pick, first ban. Memory of Gabe with the counter option, so 2 picks. So what have we seen so far today, Taco? What are the big telling points of the picks and bans?
Picks and bans, it's really just coming down to comfort, I would say. I think it was pointed out, actually, by Hurriwind on Twitter recently in that last set, where Noble actually got a draft that is like their dream draft in game number 1. They had solid comfort picks, so while something might not necessarily be the most meta in the world, sometimes you don't need meta, you just need comfort. Comfort
just makes it more comfortable. You know what you're doing with your god, which means if everybody knows what they're doing with the god, you should be okay. Second Nemesis from Flashpoint, and below it, Osiris from Memory of Gabe, and immediately it's another assassin locked in for Flashpoint in Susano.
I love the Susano pickup here for Flashpoint. I think that it's a god that Mirage can play and work around a new mid laner such as ManRay, so they can really coordinate a lot in already from that pick.
Well, it did leave Fafnir open, and immediately Memory of Gabe will lock that in. And Sol, more than likely, I'd say, for the mid lane here, which means we may see the double Hunter-esque build option coming out, especially with a Fafnir on their side already.
I would definitely prefer to see Sol in that mid lane. I just think that she has so much more potential in the mid lane than in duo right now, because magical ADCs don't have a very huge health pool, and it shows when it comes to boxing potential early game at least. But Sol's objective control, especially around the mid lane and the buffs, I think that it's excellent. So
Ra disappeared from the meta for a while, and we've not seen him in too many games, but Flashpoint going to pick him up here for themselves in the mid lane. How do you feel about that?
That's just a ManRay pick.
Is that all it is?
I mean, he's just testing the waters. I think he's just testing the waters with something that he knows he can play fairly well on. And when you pick a composition such as Susano and Khepri, 2 gods that are already excellent setup potential, because Khepri can either engage with his pool, and so that's a solid setup for Ra. You've got Susano's pull in as well. But then you have the survivability factor.
Very true indeed, especially with a Khepri in tow, just to back that up even more so if required. Thor locked in for Cynosure in the jungle, one of his go-tos for a while now. I'm not seeing too much of Thor lately. There's been a lot of talk. Some people on Reddit specifically were saying Thor needs a buff. And I'm like, I'm not so sure about that one. Thor's still okay. It might not be his meta right now, though.
I wouldn't say that it's not even his meta right now. I just think that teams just haven't been finding a lot of success with Thor, mostly based off other aspects of the game, not necessarily the Thor alone. It's just, if you're picking Thor into a CC-heavy team, you're going to have a hard time no matter what.
Athena banned out, one of the CC-heavy opportunities that Memory of Gabe could have had for themselves with those taunts. Surprisingly enough, even though they've already got Fafnir, they're a little bit worried about that going solo lane here, and then potentially having KikiSoCheeky rotating around the map alongside Thor to cause more problems.
I mean, Kiki is one he doesn't mind playing the Guardians if he has to, and he's done an excellent job. I believe he's already played the Athena solo once before, so it's not like it's something that he wouldn't be able to handle. I think that Kiki is a very flexible solo lane player, and I think that's what makes him the most potent.
And they've actually left Kiki with the last pick from Memory of Gabe here, so they'll be able to choose what he's against after Flashpoint locking theirs. Whalrus going to go for the Sun Wukong, more than likely in the solo lane. What would you like to see Kiki running against this? But it's Kiki after all, it could be Arachne.
It could be a Sobek. I mean, it's Kiki. He
Do you reckon Sobek?
He can lean towards Guardians, but I would prefer to see him on like a Vamana or something. Yeah. And There it is, actually. Right?
Okay. I was going to say, it needs some front line to go with that Fafnir and Thor's. I always class assassins that dance in and out of team fights to be like half a frontliner. Because the 0.5 in there, a full tank is normally in there the whole time. Same for a Guardian along the same lines. You always need at least 1.5 to 2.5 to really make it work. With 2 Hunters in tow, Memory of Gabe's composition comes together nicely. Flashpoint, a little bit more all over the place here. It just looks like comfort more than anything else.
I love Flashpoint's draft. Probably a little bit more than in Memory of Gabe's. The only thing that I would like to see Flashpoint have would maybe be the Fafnir, because Fafnir is just so strong in that initial laning phase aspect, but it is an excellent draft by Flashpoint.
Yeah, I've got to say, Flashpoint's draft, when you look at it, is a lot of mobility and a lot of survivability, I guess, is what they're really bringing to the table here. A couple of combinations that are available, I guess, with the raw snipe, but the burst damage is on the lower side from this composition, Taco. It really does scream to me mobility, survivability.
Relying a little bit more on that raw snipe to come through, so ManRay is going to have to be on point, so execution aspect certainly something to keep in mind. It's just that they also have consistency as far as damage is concerned, because raw Susano and Jing, nothing to sleep on. No, not at all. Memory of Gabe got to pressure out mid lane here, look for the speed buff, but have to turn around as soon as you see Flashpoint look to come and show their face too, so no one's going to get any extra buffs on that side. But talk about buffs, left-hand side, Shadowq could be first blood straight away, surprisingly enough, because Memory of Gabe started at their own red buff there, still level 1, lost a whole wave of experience for doing that red buff, but getting that kill, so important. And the red buff in hands on Kern, who's able to close the gap between the two. I think that's the main reason why we saw Shadowq taking the spill. And now, after the second wave of pressure from Memory of Gabe, they can go for the speed buff this time round. Flashpoint not really in a position to defend this. And you can also see ManRay and Mirage looking to start the red, as Memory of Gabe are currently invading the purple buff at the same time. See, this is rather unfortunate for Flashpoint. Shadowq doesn't die from being a little bit too far up, expecting, because I think the mindset there was to try and invade their own purple, or invade Gabe's purple. It's just unfortunate because they were coming back from having secured the red already. The clear is fast enough between a Kern and a Fafnir, and now they're just going to lose pressure on that side of the map, and it's going to open them up to future invades from Gabe. So the only thing Flashpoint have got from their own jungle in terms of buffs was the red buff that was given over to ManRay. Meanwhile, Memory of Gabe have their whole jungle still available. They've taken the elementals, they've taken the oracles. Now they can do their own speed, their own blue, their own purple. This is a big lead for Memory of Gabe early on, and you kind of expect that coming into this. A high pressure team. So it's kind of anticipated, like you said, for Gabe to already have the control, but for Flashpoint to forfeit 2 buffs, it's never a fun time. 3 buffs, yeah, actually, excuse me, 3 buffs. And it was the first 3 buffs as well. I mean, if it was the second time round, you're like, okay, they lost a team fight and they lost it, but losing 3 buffs across the map, that's why you see the lead that it is. Not only that extra 400 gold, and the gold difference is down to that first blood that was credited over to the dual lane when Shadowq fell down. And also probably one of the last guys that you'd want to see acquiring the first blood with Snoopy, so that's pretty unfortunate all around. I just feel like it's so early on, and just a series of bad luck. Whalrus on the right-hand side, still only level 4 after having his blue buff denied here. Just has to farm under the tower against Kiki. And all Kiki's here to do is try and get some tower damage on if he can, as he's waiting for the gank coming out, because still Whalrus is level 4! And he'll stay level 4. Now Kiki took the damage before Cynosure dunked in. Nice little play. Combination out of Memory of Gabe's duo and jungle. And Kiki's tanky enough to survive that, and he had his ultimate just in case, but poor Whalrus, man. It's starting to have flashbacks, I bet, from last weekend. That's just Memory of Gabe abusing the level 5, isn't it, more than anything else? They had level 5 ahead of their opposition. They knew Flashpoint weren't going to be in position to do anything. And pick up Whalrus, gives Kiki a lead on the right-hand side. Dual lane's already got a lead with Snoopy getting a kill. Well, I guess the next place to pay attention to is probably mid lane, if you are Cynosure. Honestly, Cynosure can just ignore the mid lane. He doesn't really have to, because if he gets the rest of Flashpoint behind, it negates the entire premise behind a composition with sustain. Well, looking at the mid lane a little bit more, you can see that ManRay started off with tier 2, the Soul Trap here, looking for an early Book of Thoth. So no extra sustain in this, but it gives him more or some damage as well. And eventually that Book of Thoth comes online, but the power spike really comes through. And the other downside too is that while they have that power spike coming online, the buffs as well are just about to be spawning. You can tell that Whalrus really wants to try and defend his own jungle, but I'm not sure they're going to be capable of contesting against Cynosure and Kiki. Well, it looks like Shadowq had to ult himself early on. He's one hit from death, gets
cancelled out the abduct in time. Solar Blessing didn't really do much. The snipe came through onto Cynosure, though, picking up a kill there for Mirage, but it was answered back onto Shadowq very quickly there. Cynosure down, Shadowq down, and Kiki forced to ultimate. Flashpoint do a very good job of defending the speed buff here.
And a lot of that's just ManRay. ManRay came up huge by landing that snipe. Had he not caught them off in that little narrow corridor, that was a free buff invade, and probably a team fight would have gone the opposite direction.
Sops taking a lot of free damage, trying to secure his own purple buff, and does so. So even though he took a bit of damage there, he is Jing after all. He can stay under the tower. It's not all doom and gloom for the Hunter, making sure Snoopy doesn't continue to get further ahead.
Luckily for him, Snoopy didn't have the mana, but right now it could be a different story for Kiki, trying to be cheeky, but gonna be able to get himself out of danger.
Yeah, got knocked down to half health though, and he's gonna be a little bit careful for a few minutes now. But in the sky, Cynosure looking for a play again by the looks of it. Gotta go straight in and only hit onto Whalrus. Double tap perfect. Berserker Barrage as well. Not enough damage to bring down the monkey. Mirage was there to slow them down, and Kiki obviously couldn't really follow up from the fact he was in the lane.
Unfortunate. I think that was an excellently... That was a smart play by Cyno.
And it almost worked out well, because they could have forced Whalrus back to base there, meaning he would have lost a minion wave to the tower, but because he doesn't have his teleport available. Good news is, though, Mirage was around, so it's all a square whiff, basically. Cynosure didn't find the kill. His ultimate's on cooldown for a few minutes.
But when you think about it, though, he was chunking Whalrus.
Yes, he was.
And Whalrus is supposed to be a tanky member.
Well, let's be honest. Warriors are only tanky when they've got items too. Just like Guardians, in the early game, they are susceptible to gank pressure early on, especially if you've got an assassin running at you who's already got Warrior Tabby online for that power spike, and you're actually behind or equal in levels to him. You're going to have a rough time.
Any double tap right now, though, that Cyno's able to find on somebody from
anyone.
Flashpoint, it's just going to devastate them.
Well, one thing to mention as well, we saw the Ra in the mid lane picked up here. Do we expect to see some anti-heal coming out of Memory of Gabe? Will we see maybe Hurriwind go for maybe a Divine Ruin?
I don't think that Gabe really has to worry about anti-heal until right around the levels 12 through 14 mark.
Sure.
I don't think they're going to prioritize it either, especially if they continue to maintain the map pressure.
Yeah, we'll just see how they can continue to maintain it now, because obviously all buffs down for a while. Red buff about to come up from Memory of Gabe, and it's all Cynosure so far. Been everywhere in the map for the time being, just constantly trying to pressure, poke out, really dictating the pace. That's kind of what you expect from a Thor in the early game.
It's interesting, though. Mirage has maintained keeping up with him in farm. Right now, he's looking for the aggression going on to Cyno. Ultimate is coming out from Mirage. Is he going to be able to find it?
No, the beads prevented the knockable. Whalrus comes round with a teleport and a Jingu bang to the mush. Brings down Cynosure. Snoopy's in trouble, though, and he's going to be picked off by ManRay there. Good play for Flashpoint. 2 kills quickly. Jungler and AD carry down. Hello, Gold Fury, maybe?
That was a huge team fight for Flashpoint. They needed that. And the rotation by Whalrus was excellent.
Well, looks like Kiki's still here, looking to poke them down, make sure Flashpoint aren't doing this Gold Fury now. And that's all Memory of Gabe want to do. Deny Flashpoint getting anywhere near that Gold Fury, getting anything else more than the red buff that was stolen on the left-hand side from Memory of Gabe's jungle by Whalrus.
And I can't blame Flashpoint for not wanting to aggress any further. It's incredibly risky to try and take on that fight, knowing that Kiki was going to be wrapping around that backside.
Oh, Kiki looking to take the speed buff down. Has Eonic coming through? These two are going to take a little bit of time to bring down this speed buff, and with ManRay coming round and Mirage too, the race is on for Cynosure to get to the sky, looking for the monkey again. This time the monkey dodges it, and the Ox form comes to the rescue. Speed buff still alive.
And right now it's ManRay looking to try and get out as much damage as possible to defend this buff. Mirage is not happy about Gabe.
Yeah, they didn't find anything there, Memory of Gabe, but in the end, Flashpoint get the speed buff, which is what they were after, and the blue buff's still available too. Flashpoint for the second time, I should say, in a row, defend their speed buff. Now going to be able to get the blue buff as well, so they're climbing back into this so far, Taco.
Yeah, that's his Christmas for Whalrus. All day long, finally getting his blue buff.
And only being a level behind means once that blue buff drops, he's just a little bit closer to catching up once again to Kiki in that solo lane. Mirage hanging around, going to check out the speed and blue from Memory of Gabe's jungle here, but witnessing Cynosure and Kiki in lane, he may look for a bit of pressure, especially with ManRay starting to rotate round, although ManRay a little bit too low on mana to really make too much of an impact.
ManRay too low on mana, and Whalrus too low on mana and health. Otherwise, I think we would have seen Flashpoint try and venture into Gabe's jungle. I like the safe call, though, by Mirage to not look for the aggression. Yeah,
that's the main thing. Not necessarily go for it every single time. Just because you've got the rotation coming doesn't mean you have to go for the engagement. Pick your battles wisely. Over to the dual lane, and Snoopy currently level 11. 2-level lead over sops so far. Devourer's Gauntlet stacking up once again. We're moving away from Iqval into Execution and more towards Devourer's Gauntlets.
And this is purely just Snoopy getting away with that.
Sops isn't getting away, that's for sure.
He was just gone. I couldn't even finish saying my sentence before sops just disappeared.
Look at how those beads came out too. The beads came out just as the stun was ending, and even before that, he still couldn't get away, get his ultimate off in time. Now Memory of Gabe starting the Gold Fury. Cynosure on zone duty with Snoopy going in too. The Wild Hunt is on. ManRay forced to Aegis, Cynosure in the sky. This is more for zone work than engagement with how low his health is right now. So his mana bar is, I should say. But it makes enough room for Memory of Gabe to pick up a free Gold Fury to back up the kill that they got on sops.
I think Cyno could have potentially looked for ManRay there, but he doesn't need to. He just needed to keep Flashpoint in a panic and to have them staying outside of that Gold Fury pit. And it worked out. I mean, they're able to secure the gold like we just saw. And on top of that, they also picked up sops for free.
So now it's just under 4,000 gold, I should say, in favor of Memory of Gabe. 4-3 at 10 minutes mark. The Portal Demon has spawned now too, so it's another additional threat that both teams need to be aware of as a potential threat of having stripped away from them. The biggest story though, Taco, once again, 4,500 experience.
4.5. That's really the only number that I'm paying much attention to, because gold you can kind of make up for. Even early on, 4K gold, yes, it hurts, but you can kind of stalemate it out and wait for the fights to happen. But when you're that far behind in experience, it just leaves your opposition so freely to push into you without any sort of concern.
And the experience can be shown really quickly without trips back to base, just between the level difference of lane opposition. Mirage going to pull in Hurriwind here, but he already had his separate active, so it doesn't need too much damage. Kiki rotating around, found ManRay. The abduct was good from Shadowq to slow Kiki down. But ManRay still eats a lot of damage there. Then a Frenzy from Shadowq early on, but nobody's engaging. Wasted Frenzy.
I think that was mostly just to try and get Gabe to disengage, and now it's going to be Whalrus trying to escape from the remaining members. They just want the Portal Demon.
At the same time, Flashpoint just want to sustain a little bit more. They've got to be careful of Ra's snipe coming through from ManRay if they can get the Portal Demon in time. Portal Demon goes down, Memory of Gabe secure. Eonic pulled into a dangerous spot, has his ultimate alive, and that leaves Cynosure to come in and look for more pressure. Looks for Mirage, but Mirage will get away. Eonic one hit from death, but sops will not commit.
Sops can't commit right there. The second that he were to try and go over that wall to pursue Eonic, he's going to get CC'd or damage bursted to oblivion.
And with that, Memory of Gabe all head back to base very quickly, can use the portal to come back through if they need to. But for the most part, with getting the gold, the objective is down. Go back to farming, and that's what Snoopy's going to do, whereas Kiki will definitely take that portal through.
Snoopy's too farm right now. He can do whatever he wants to do, and I'm not accustomed to seeing a Jing fall far behind. Those words are very funny.
Fall far behind.
Fall far behind.
It's fall far. It's two Fs.
Far,
it's
fall.
not that complex.
Far, fall, fall, far.
Fall far.
I don't want to talk about it anymore.
Far fall.
We're just going to act like that
fall
segment
far.
never happened, even though I'm sure that somebody's out there is bound to have clipped it.
To be fair, it was probably the least offensively stupid thing you've said on broadcast so far. So,
last time
you're getting there.
I can't be aggressive with things.
Why?
Reddit gets unhappy.
If you're aggressive?
If I'm myself.
What are you going to do? Get angry about saying fall far?
What? No, it's not in that circumstance. It's just, you know, those guys.
Okay, you're not making sense now. I'm going to stop talking. But Snoopy's got a 3-level lead against sops for a second until he clears that minion wave down. But that's going to be an issue now because Snoopy's just slowly, catchy monkey, farming away his way up the player damage as well as getting his build online. After Iqval, we expect an Executioner or we're going crit? Where we going?
Might as well just go Executioner into crit.
Is it normally crit with a Cernunnos or is it normally Pen we're after?
It depends on what kind of composition you're against, and against a healer composition, hold that thought. It's going to be Mirage deleting Cynosure with ManRay.
ManRay's hitting those snipes today when they come through, and they're making important issues for Memory of Gabe to have to consider there, because that was Mirage who set up the play. Cynosure wasn't really panicking there, as you could tell, but he wanted to get to the sky as quick as he could, realizing there was damage coming through. And the moment he went for it is the moment ManRay took him out with the snipe.
It's pretty impressive, too, because he's only level 12, and he's able to chunk away that far with the Pen Boots and the Book of Thoth.
And surprisingly enough, I know we've mentioned Cynosure a few times in this game, because he has been the talking point so far. He has died 3 times now, which says a lot. Only 1 kill, 2 assists, 3 deaths. but he's setting up his team enough to cause pressure on the map.
And prioritizing the brawlers, so he's concerned about the healing from ManRay already.
But is it really an issue if you were technically ahead in the jungle, which he was at one point, to go for that brawlers? Because it's great for Thor anyway. Obviously, you don't get the cooldown from Jotuns, but having a little bit of anti-heal, it does affect a lot of things.
It can be a little bit greedy building it that early because cooldowns are just so heavily prioritized for a Thor especially. You just want to be spamming your ultimate and spamming your poke damage, which you can't really do as often if you opt for the brawlers over the Jotuns.
Well, most of the second relics have come through just as supports to finish off theirs once they hit level 12. Solo lane is Kiki there, taking the sprint here, so they have any agility online for him. Not an upgraded version just yet, so it's not go faster moment just yet. But if he does go for that, Snoopy's going to have more extra help to his aid with basically 3 Fatalis for a few seconds.
It's unfortunate for Sops. He can't really afford to box against Snoopy right now. He only has Ickful Finish and T2 of the Balance Blade.
Should he be boxing as a Jing way at this point, or should he just be farming this out? Should he just be looking to rotate?
Farm, but Snoopy's going to keep consistently poking out at him. And right now, this is the benefit of having Devos.
Yeah, and also don't forget, in melee range, Snoopy does a little bit more damage as well to that Gold Fury. Swinging away on it, didn't lose any health whatsoever, but it baits Shadowq in to try and contest. He gets hit by a hammer, forced to abduct away. Once again, that Supernova's a little bit late out of Hurriwind, but he's still up in the sky for Cynosure to look to come down. Frenzy just wears off. Is Cynosure going to come in? Yes, he was looking for Whalrus, but the bird was too quick for the hammer.
Cyno has been aggressing so frequently onto Whalrus, just really trying to prevent him from getting into his own team's backline.
I think he's just trying to tilt him over and again. Eonic, though, got to commit for a second, force Sops out and catch those beads, which are now on cooldown. Shadowq and Whalrus on the forefront, but Whalrus eats a lot of damage, and with Kiki now rotating around with Cynosure, Sops is in trouble, and the Wild Hunt will get Sops into an awkward spot. Great revive from Shadowq, though, and a good abduct too. Memory of Gabe still on the Gold Fury.
And Kiki just trying to zone out Shadowq and ManRay from joining the fight. It's really ManRay's ultimate who's the ultimate steal potential, so as long as he doesn't get close enough, this should go to Gabe.
And it does go to Gabe indeed. They will get the Gold Fury. Snoopy picks that one up for his team, and Flashpoint just kept trying to poke their head in like, can we stop this? Poked out. Can we stop this? Poked out. One by one by one. The main news though, nobody died in the engagement, which was very important for them not to give it even a bigger window, because if they lose a man there, Taco, they could potentially lose the Portal Demon on the right for free as well.
They might lose the Portal Demon anyway, though, on the right-hand side. It's incredibly... I'd say it's difficult to know what to do right there. It's just, it seemed like Flashpoint were hesitating, and I would rather see ManRay poke himself into there and die trying to get the snipe off on the Gold Fury than just forfeit the objective entirely. I
think the biggest issue that Flashpoint had was the fact that Shadowq got poked early, then it was Whalrus that got poked out too, and when you both your frontliners are down to half health, it makes it very difficult because the only one man that can go into that fight then is Mirage on the Susano, and Memory of Gabe will definitely look to commit all in on him if they get an opportunity like that.
Yeah, I think it just also falls back to Sops getting poked out pretty heavily as well, and not having just finished Executioner, it was just incredibly difficult for him to try and really get any damage off for his team. There just hasn't been any return fire other than Mirage and ManRay finding the damage.
Well, Sops is on the left-hand side right now, going to try and rotate around. Mirage eats a double tap as the Portal Demon falls the way of Memory of Gabe. Shadowq has to disengage as well. Not a whole lot of action in this game so far. It's been sporadic, but that sporadic action has actually worked in Memory of Gabe's favor. It's been objective control has been the focus.
And it's still a slow bleed. It's essentially all that Flashpoint is. They can't take the Band-Aid, or they can't put the Band-Aid on.
No, you can't get the Band-Aid on because he's getting ripped off. It was even wet or something. That's the issue right now, it seems, for Flashpoint. So Portal Demon go in the way of Memory of Gabe too, and now he's starting to get to that point where it's 3-4-man splits potentially for Flashpoint to try and catch up in terms of experience and gold.
It's just when you have a healer-based composition, and it's great because you've got the Khepri assistance, you've got the setup from Mirage, it's just that, and ManRay's been landing his snipes. ManRay's been playing this raw beautifully, it's just, you can't forfeit all these objectives.
No, you can't. And if you keep forfeiting them over and over again, like they're going to forfeit the tier 1 tower on the right-hand side by having no one in position. Some of this you have to give up, though, Taco. Like, Sops is so far behind against Snoopy that him getting some free farm on the left-hand side isn't the worst idea in the world, but they have to make sure they hold on to the tier 2 towers.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to Sops split pushing in the slightest. It's pretty much all he can do right now is Whalrus just trying to get away from this ultimate by Hurriwind. But
and the tier 2 towers trying to get away from Flashpoint, sorry, from Memory of Gabe, and it will do. Back to despawn. Snoopy got hit by a Sunder. Whalrus looking to commit onto him potentially. potentially here. Going into the cloud with the clone chasing, and the rest of Flashpoint falling back. There's no real chance of commitment here. Whalrus heads into the jungle as Sops now joins the fray. Eonic gonna poke him down for a second. Firegiant still alive as Kiki's on the left-hand side now defending from where Sops was looking for the tier 2.
That Fire Giant form is, or the Fafnir dragon form is the only reason why we didn't see Whalrus trying to pursue Snoopy after sundering him, because he knew he'd probably get stunned out instantly and just turned on.
Yeah, then be bursted down very, very quickly indeed. You were correct in his build, by the way. Snoopy did go for Executioner into crit. Now is going to be his next option. Rage for days. Always rage.
He's going to deal so much damage.
Do you need to buy more crit if you just get rage? Do you think you should invest into Deathbringer even though you've got rage?
It's smart to typically invest in a Deathbringer just because when you have that much crit potential, especially against the draft that Flashpoint is running, they don't really have anybody who's super tanky frontline that can just be in their faces other than Whalrus, but Whalrus is behind.
He is behind right now.
And when he's that far behind, he's just going to get absolutely destroyed by Snoopy.
You can see Whalrus at the moment, level 16 to the level 17 of Kiki. The goal between the two is a little bit different, and mainly probably just down to the fact Whalrus's build here, a little bit more expensive, I'd say, with the fact that he went for the Hide of the Urchin. Fantastic item, you just need those stacks.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I'm not sure that Flashpoint is going to be able to find those stacks, considering that right now they're just trying to turtle, and this is really just based on how much Gabe want to poke into Flashpoint. It
just requires Flashpoint, I think, to do a one all-in commit that they wipe a couple of characters. The one issue that compositions like Memory of Gabe have drafted here is that if you lose if you lose Hurriwind and Snoopy, you've not really got much damage left. That's the real telling point there, but you have to get to them, and that makes it very tricky when it's someone like Sol in the mid lane.
I don't know. It's going to be difficult to work your way into those Gons, though, considering you've got Kiki, who even built the Frostbound. Just in case he wasn't slowing you enough with his kit, he's just going to go into his big baby form, if anything, and Frostbound you down.
Well, you can see Kiki's build as well. That relic is upgraded on Heavenly Agility now, which means he's going to be slowing and moving at full pace, as well as the rest of his team, while he's in his ultimate, causing a lot of problems when he pops that gas pedal.
The setup is all he's really looking for here.
Sure. And to be fair, like heavily on Sol and on Snoopy, that's such a big swing. Not only that, gives it himself and the rest of his squad too.
And he's got 3 members of Gabe kind of just trying to poke out at him, but now it's Eonic who actually might be turning this onto Shadowq if he's not careful.
Well, it's just a situation where Memory of Gabe is just trying to poke him out just a little bit, use the Brawler's Beat Stick to their advantage a little bit more, and the Pestilence now, so a little bit more anti-healing coming online. You saw the Gold Fury drop down from Memory of Gabe again, and it just feels like it's a slow, methodical death of Flashpoint so far.
It just comes down to Flashpoint. Between not being able to contest and just not wanting to contest, it's just ultimately going to lead to their demise at this rate, because you can't afford to just let everything go.
And I think that's a big key, is Flashpoint don't want to die too much, and by doing that, you give up all the objective anyway. If you die too much, you're going to end the game, lose the game quicker if you consistently die. So trying to stay alive, obviously, the first part of the challenge for Flashpoint. The second part is definitely going to be the objectives as Cynosure takes on Sops. Sops doesn't really win that trade whatsoever. He played very, very passive there, even though he had wall coverage down. Cynosure was a level behind him, but Sops did not want to fight.
I would have liked to see Sops try and turn that.
I was thinking the same thing, just because of the fact it was a 1v1, even though, you know, he's still a hunter at the end of the day, he can get some decent damage off.
And he's got Executioner, Ickfall, and Rage.
Yeah.
I think that he could have easily turned that, especially both actors available.
Kind of feels like Flashpoint, though, especially with all the roster changes they now keep having. You know, they've replaced ManRay. ManRay's now in the mid lane, I should say. Whalrus now in the solo lane. So they keep having these roster adjustments where they're having to work out their style, their play, who's doing what in team fights. Where Memory of Gabe, they know what they're doing in team fights. Cynosure in the sky, looking to come down if required. Whalrus has to jump to the cloud. And now that ultimate's on cooldown means it's a small win yet again for Memory of Gabe.
And it's looking like Whalrus is trying to get into that
backside. Good snipe! What a snipe from ManRay! Destroyed the whole squad! But Hurriwind's going to live for another extra second. Whalrus had to commit, and it may still cost him his life. No! He slips out the back. The monkey gets away! Sops now going to go in looking for the KikiSoCheeky. Mirage going to pick him up too! What a turnaround for Flashpoint. It was all off ManRay. Snipe that hit 3 or 4 members.
I wanted to see that so much sooner from Flashpoint, but it's time that they finally picked the right engagement. They took their moment and they seized it. The fact that Whalrus didn't die, that is probably the most important part.
Well, Fire Giant was pulled for a second there, but look at ManRay's health pool, a little bit on the low side now. 3 members dead for Memory of Gabe. At the moment, Sops now returning on that Jing way. Should be able to put some nice damage onto the Fire Giant. Eonic, no ultimate, neither has Cynosure right now, but Cynosure's will be up relatively soon. Fire Giant getting low as Whalrus is still boxing Cynosure and losing that trade. Fire Giant getting low and X just standing around, waiting patiently. Gonna get knocked up. Shadowq's in trouble. Fire Giant goes the way of Flashpoint, but Cynosure pick up one of his ult, get that turned on potentially by Sops. The Aegis saves him for a moment, but not long enough for members with the Fire Giant for Flashpoint. They are technically back in this game, even though they're at a 9k deficit.
This is all that Flashpoint needed. Unfortunate that Shadowq dies there. Had Shadowq not died, they could have looked for the immediate back and then siege of the T1 towers in mid and solo lane. But either way, this Fire Giant is going to buy them time, and time is really all that they need.
That was the first time Flashpoint have been as a team too, because when Sops turned up to that fight, it swung in their balance. Straight after ManRay's ultimate is the moment Flashpoint went, hang on a second, we can get kills. Whalrus fully commits for the kill, and he should have died. Eonic didn't pay attention to him, thought he was going to fall down anyway. So Whalrus slips out, which causes the issue with the Fire Giant then going down as well.
And that can happen from time to time. Those team fights get so hectic, and Eonic just wanting to focus on providing as much peel as possible.
Right?
Exactly. He needs the peel for his teammates.
And he doesn't really think about one little auto attack from Fafnir there would have brought down Whalrus for sure. But it's Memory of Gabe on the defense now, although they're not super defensive, as you can see. They're positioned around the tier 1 tower. They still feel confident they can hold their tier 1s.
And they could very well still hold T1s or T2s even. Flashpoint have to play this incredibly careful.
Keep an eye on Cynosure, still standing around his speed buff. If Flashpoint do commit to that tier 1 tower, you'll see him go to the sky and look for the opportunity to hit multiple members. Predominantly more than likely Sops or ManRay if he can find them. They're the damage dealers at the range that will be able to sit a little bit further back and poke that tower down.
Another fun part to consider too is that Whalrus finally has 4 stacks in that Urchin.
The dream!
Which is enough to be... It provides a lot of tankiness at just 3 stacks, and
Definitely.
4 and climbing, you're looking pretty good.
Here we go again, and there's a frenzy pop as well coming out from Flashpoint. Ultimate used very early on by Hurriwind, and Cynosure landed exactly where he needed to onto Shadowq. Bad news is no one was low enough for Memory of Gabe to burst down and pick up the kill before the Khepri ult could go off. Stunning mid lane onto Sops again, forced to beat out. A little bit worried about Snoopy and Hurriwind backing them up, but Memory of Gabe doing what they need to, just delaying as long as they can. Flashpoint committing and getting tier 1 towers.
But all the ultimates on the side of Gabe have been expended. Flashpoint still have 4 ultimates to their name.
Tier 1 tower being chipped down by Sops. Mirage coming in, going to pull in 2. Forced out is Snoopy as Eonic jumps away straight into Whalrus. Snipe from ManRay. Hits onto Eonic and the dragon is about to tumble. Oh, he's still alive. Sops, is he going to go in for it? No. And he jumps away from ManRay's laser just in time. Eonic survives. The tier 2 tower may be in a different state of repair.
I don't blame Flashpoint for choosing to back off. I wish that they could have secured a couple of those kills just to see what would have happened next, but they're still going to be able to secure the right-hand jungle, take out these the T1 tower minimum in the solo lane side, and hopefully the T2. That's still a nice amount of gold for them to get to their name.
So they've both got roughly the same amount of towers left standing as each other right now, how as it stands. But Memory of Gabe have seen a window at the Gold Fury with Flashpoint backing away, looking to try and farm out other lanes. They left the Gold Fury open, tackle, and you can't do that. All that work that they've just done has been for naught.
That's... That's just one of those instances where you don't really notice the Gold Fury timer because you haven't had it the entire game.
Yep.
So it was just Gabe being aware that we know that this is spawning.
Guess what? Sops going to walk over against. Guys, let's do Gold Fury. No, okay. I'll go skip to lane, I guess. Rest in peace.
That feels bad, man.
It does feel bad, especially after getting the Fire Giant after such a good team fight the first time Flashpoint looked good. And then they've had a chance to get themselves back in the game, but they just left that window open for Memory of Gabe a little bit too wide. And Memory of Gabe closed the door. And it's surprisingly enough because it's Gabe that made the mistake in my eyes. They were in full control of this game. They all lined up in a perfect situation. ManRay went, well, thank you very much. However, Portal Demon has spawned, and this could be the first one Flashpoint can look to do themselves.
I think that Flashpoint want to go ahead and commit to this because they have the damage to just burn it.
Oh, yeah. Well, Kiki's going to look for a cheeky steal. And he got it! What a steal from Kiki. It looks like it was him with the double tap from the Umbrella Ring. That's the only thing I could think got it with the Bluestone pendant ticks. I think it was that. I really do.
losing Portal Demon to Bluestone Pendant ticks.
Feels bad. Feels real bad.
They've done so well to fight back into this game.
After all the work they did of the snipe into the Fire Giant, that works out well for them. Then they get Tier 1, Tier 2. Then they give a free Gold Fury and have a Portal Demon stolen away, and now they're back in the same situation they were 5 minutes ago. Fire Giant about to spawn. Memory of Gabe has the Portal Demon, and we're back to it again.
And I just gotta say, it's kind of on ManRay for that one, because I don't think he wanted to use his raw ultimate for the secure. He was concerned that they might have tried to pursue a team fight afterwards without the raw snipe.
Let's be honest, at the same time, it's an umbrella rank. Like, do you really think he's going to steal it? Kiki's timed that so well. Eonic under pressure in here, going to hammer Shadowq in place. Shadowq, he's a lot more damage than he wants to. He's got it all defensively, and he's dot damaged by Eonic too. Cynosure in this guy looking to come down to Shadow, but he didn't find it there. Cynosure instead goes towards Mirage. Mirage missing the Sunder onto Cynosure. That's on cooldown too. And Cyno won't find the wall either. It's still a 1-for-0. Eonic fell down there. Shadowq survived.
Sops still coming up huge in that team fight for Flashpoint, picking off Eonic, because a 5v4 scenario is not something that Gabe wants to take up, especially with the Portal Demon having just worn off.
Well, here we go. Fire Giant started. Shadowq, Whalrus on zone duty. Mirage also joining in. Sops just continuing to tank away, but it looks like the commit call has been made by Flashpoint, trying to force back Memory of Gabe. Hurriwind is going to get away with his Aegis and looking for the Disapparate to get him to safety. He gets out before the last crit comes through from Sops, who's now being beaten down by Kiki. Kiki surrounded by 4, looking for kills, or just looking to escape, will do so back towards Cynosure and Snoopy.
And Sops was getting absolutely chunked there for a second, but oh man, this is so back and forth between these two teams.
It is close right now. The goal disparity is still there in favor of Memory of Gabe, but Flashpoint are fighting back into this a little bit better now. Experience is even, which tells you a lot about this game and how close it's been. The goal different story, that's been Flashpoint mistakes, but their farming has been solid to keep them to this point.
And the thing is, gold at 30 minutes isn't as important. When there's an 8k plus gold difference, it really doesn't make that huge of a difference, because majority of the time, both sides are typically coming close to finishing off their build anyway.
I think the big key is 30 minutes, 8k difference at 30 minutes versus maybe 8k at 10 minutes, right? There's a big difference there between state of the game based off your itemization versus theirs. The fact they'll just have more items in general.
Gabe's been playing into this 8k gold difference pretty much the entire game as well.
Well, Memory Gabe just seems to have lost with their focal point after having a couple of bad team fights their way. They kind of slowed down the objective control, looking to fight consistently, trying to use this gold lead. Shadowq in trouble. Shadowq does not have an ultimate for himself. Well, he does, I tell a lie. But he's still going to go down here. The snipe from ManRay didn't really do as much as he was hoping to, as it only hit Kiki. And meanwhile, Mirage is surrounded by multiple members. He's going to go down too. First time Memory of Gabe won a small fight in the enemy jungle. Now the Fire Giants potentially available.
And that's the team fight that Flashpoint did not want to have. The one where they just get picked off one by one. They need to remain grouped if they want this comp to work out.
And the Fire Giant's already dead. Whalrus tried to run away, but got stunned out by Eonic. And it looks like Whalrus will fall down. Cloud was available, but he didn't have any chance to get into it just yet. Sop's going to farm up the mid lane where he can. ManRay has to wander all the way back to base as the whole of Memory of Gabe are chasing him down.
Well, he's able to escape for now, but for how much longer?
Double
2
coerce.
damage killers?
Coerce in Fafnir Dragon form onto 2 carries. It won't take seconds for too many seconds, I should say, for objectives to fall at this rate.
There are 3 towers still remaining, though, so I don't think that Gabe want to pressure into the base just yet. Probably look to secure these towers and the rest of the team fight.
Well, Sops sees a double tap there. Didn't beat that time, though. Was just patient enough. Now Memory of Gabe take the tier 2. Pressure this Phoenix here. Mirage is back. Whalrus down for another 17 seconds still. The Phoenix down in, well, a second, as you can see. And now Memory of Gabe may look to just disengage. Is what they're going to do.
Forcing Kiki into his ultimate, though, is not too bad. I mean, at least that's one less ult they have to worry about in the next defense. But with 2 Phoenixes already gone, I'm not sure how much longer Flashpoint can try and hold out.
I have a feeling that was Kiki popping his ult to charge in to tank the Titan. That's what it kind of felt like, right? But I think he wanted to do that. Rest of Memory of Gabe were like, no, Kiki, no. We made a mistake earlier on. Let's not make another one. We'll just take the win of the Phoenixes, go back to base. We've still got Fire Giant for another couple minutes. So, a couple more towers. What's the harm, right? Spend that gold.
Man. This is kind of heartbreaking to watch for Flashpoint, because
it is hard,
for a second, it really looked like they were going to actually take this one. It was just...
It's false hope. That's what it is. Flashpoint just keep having these moments of false hope where they're like, Okay, we're losing. Okay, it's not working. Like, at least we're not dying, right? Oh, we got some kills. Oh, we got a fire giant. Oh, this is great. Oh, tier 1 in mid lane. Oh, tier 2 in mid lane. Oh, guys, we're really in this one. Next minute, Golf is gone. Portal Demon gets stolen away. Lose a team fight. Oh, I'm used to this. Okay.
It's the little tilting
Excitement
aspect.
over.
I think that's got to be one of the most tilting things ever, is watching Portal Demon die to a Vamana bluestone tick.
I'm sure it was a bluestone tick, unless it was an Eonic's hammer. I cannot be 100% unfortunately, but it was the only two people that are around were Eonic and Kiki.
Two people that shouldn't be able to secure
Precisely.
it. So.
And I'm pretty sure it was the umbrella ring. I just feel like it was the double tap bluestone pendant tick that did it, so it was a very small amount of damage. Final Phoenix left standing for Flashpoint. There's the frenzy popped, but there's the Phoenix down. Hunt is on, and Sops is out of the fight for a second. ManRay back in this engagement, but already Shadowq is very, very low. Snipe hits on a couple of members, but they're all still healthy. All 3 Phoenixes down, and the only 2 members left standing are Whalrus, who's on his Sun Cloud, and ManRay, who's hugging his fountain.
And right now, they're just trying to pick him up from that fountain. Snoopy's able to find Whalrus in the backside, not even concerned about the Titan health until ManRay dies.
Yeah, die, ManRay.
And now the Titan can go down.
13-9, 34-minute game. Memory of Gabe made that a struggle for themselves, in all fairness. Flashpoint fell behind early by objective control, then one good team fight from them, in fairness, pulling back into it.
That 7 to 10 minute stretch of Flashpoint fighting their way back into the game is probably the best performance from Flashpoint we've seen so far this split.
And that's one thing you're always looking for with lower end teams. We always say signs of life. And that's what you're looking for, is like, are they actually alive? Do they actually breathe on their own, or do you actually need to help them consistently?
A little bit of CPR.
Pretty much. So.